Hi, my name is Jeff Cohen from replacevehicle.com. I'm doing a series of videos to try to answer some of the questions that you might have in regards to replacing your current vehicles and what your real options are. Number one, what makes us different is we actually get you a firm approval from real banks and we disclose everything via email. We like to work via email because this way everything's in writing. I never get a call and saying, Jeff, I thought you said this, I thought you said that. Unfortunately, car guys will say anything over the phone to get you to a dealership because nobody can sell anything over the phone. Again, what makes us different is we get that approval up front, we disclose all the numbers, we then ask you what your comfort level is payment wise, 300, 400, 500, whatever. And then we look for the vehicle that fits your needs from the very beginning of the process, as well as keeping in mind that the parameters that the lender has outlined for us. The process begins when you send us an application. It costs nothing. The education is free. It's just the basic information which enables us to take a look at your credit report and to be able to get back to you and give you real information as far as what really can be done. We've done this for close to 18 years now. Most of my clients come from local bankruptcy attorneys. We do some direct mail as well. And again, the whole key is to put you in a better situation than you are now, because most of us are buried in our cars. We owe lots more than they're worth, from turning in trades, from turning in lease cars, from bearing the last deal into the new deal, getting bad deals, whatever the case may be. Most of the time, it's not a good idea to reaffirm a car, your current car, because you owe too much on it and it has too many miles and it doesn't have any warranty or whatever the situation is. Once we get the application, we get back to you within 24 hours, most of the time lots less than that. And as I said, we give you the entire formula, we outline everything via email. We can get any make and model, new or used. It's just a question of doing the best for your current situation, keeping in mind the ideal thing is you want to finance the least amount of money your ego will allow. The whole goal here is to rebuild the credit so down the line you're going to be able to get what you really want. I'm not saying you can't get something close to what you want now. You can, and that's really what we go out of our way to do for you, and that's what makes us different, in that we actually try to get you a car that you want instead of a dealer trying to just sell you a car that's sitting on his lot that they want to sell you. Clients, reach out to me all the time and they want to know what their interest rate is or what this is or what that is. All bankruptcies aren't created equal in that some people have been at a job a long time, some people are W-2, some people are 1099, some are self-employed. There's lots of different situations. Some people have had 10 auto loans in the past. Some people have had one. Some people have lived at a residence for a long time. Some people have worked at a job at a long time. It all depends. Everyone's situation's a little different. And that's why instead of giving just blanket, inaccurate information to everybody, we literally give you the exact numbers and we tell you exactly what we're able to do. And the nice part about this business model is there's nothing in it for us unless we live up to everything promised. We're the last ones to get paid. Basically, 3 things have to happen before we make a dime. And up till then, all the information we provide is free of charge. You can go out and do with it as you wish. We only make money if these 3 things occur. The first is we get you financing you're not going to get elsewhere. We disclose that financing to you. All the loans are no prepayment penalty loans. There's no payment for 45 days. The big edge that I have is I typically can do 0 down, 500 down max. And the second thing is, once we give you all the numbers, we then go out and get you the exact vehicle you want. Any make, any model. Once you come and purchase that vehicle, once the deal funds as promised with no changes, the dealer that we end up at pays us instead of paying salesmen and closers and finance guys and managers, all the guys that normally make money in a car deal. So our living's not made at your expense. My living's made by cutting the fat out of a car deal and getting you pricing that you'd never get on your own, and that's why the deal makes sense to a lender with little or $500 down. I mean, we're asking a lender to finance 100% of the car, plus most, if not all, the tax and license. That's not what lenders want to do. They want to finance the least on something worth the most. That's why typically you're facing big down payment requirements, because it enables a dealership to sell a car for pretty much whatever they want, and then the deal will still make sense. When we try to put together a deal with little or no down payment, the numbers have to be spot on, or the lender won't do the deal. It's all their money. Probably the number one thing that's the most important in regards to getting you what you want and getting as an aggressive an interest rate as possible is proof of income. When you're going through a bankruptcy, the nice part about the bankruptcy is you're leaving all the old debt behind, and you only have the debt that you're incurring now. And basically you either budget for the new situation or you don't. It's all about money coming in, money going out. So as far as proof of income, the ideal proof of income is a W-2 job. The longer at a job, the better. I can deal with someone that has a brand new job. Job gaps, it depends. In a perfect world, lenders like you going from one job to the next, but sometimes there are job gaps, and we can deal with that. 1099 employment, is another thing. Self-employment, we can deal with that, but again, it takes bank statements, it takes proof of an income stream. So typically 3 months bank statements, we take all 3 months of the deposits, divide by 3 to get an average, and that's the gross monthly income. Social Security, child support, whatever the situation is or whatever you put on that application, there has to be written proof of you receiving that income to be able to use it as income on the application. Getting an approval from a lender is easy. Getting the deal funded is something altogether different. So the parameters are very strict. And in the past, especially if your credit was really good in the past, you're not used to this. You could have just walked into a dealership, you tell them what you want, they give you the numbers, you say yes, you say no, and it's pretty simple. Unfortunately now it's a little bit different, at least this go round, because you have to reestablish to get your credit back to where it was. The only way you can do that is to replace your current car. You need someone to hand you a chunk of money. That's the only thing that's going to change your credit score. Going out and getting a $250 credit card or whatever is never going to change your credit score. So you need new, fresh credit reporting as soon as possible. And that's the other reason why it's typically a good idea to look into your options as early on in the process as possible. Don't wait for, the repo man to come take your car and then all of a sudden you're scrambling looking for a replacement. Lenders verify everything that is submitted to them. Again, in the past, when your credit's really not an issue, things don't get verified. Things are taken at face value, and pretty much life goes on. But in this case, everything that we submit is verified, whether it be rent, income, how long you've lived someplace. And typically it's just with basic things. As far as residence, a utility bill typically will prove residence. If you own a home and that you have a mortgage on, it's important that the mortgage be current before you're going to be able to get a new loan, a new auto loan moving forward. And as far as your rent, if you're just renting, obviously your rent has to be current. But other than that, the key again, proof of income, proof of residence, and that's really all there is to it as far as making sure that whatever that we provide to you as far as numbers and promises, we'll be able to keep on our end. As I said, we have access to any make and model. There's no vehicle that we can't get, but before we do that, I want my clients to know what the numbers are, what their expectations are. I don't want there to be any surprises, and that's why my lenders are able to do what they do for us, because they know that my clients know everything up front. What normally happens is you walk into a dealer, you think you're going to be at $400 a month, and 4 hours later you leave at $600 a month. Unfortunately, that happens all the time. The whole car business is built on buying out of impulse, not need. So because I supply all of the numbers to my clients while they're at home or they're in their office and they're digesting the numbers and they're getting a feel for what they can afford and what they can't afford, my deals don't go bad. When a client meets us at a dealership and they expect to be at $400 a month, they are at $400 a month. And when they come and they look at the car, if the car meets their expectations, they take it for a drive, they sign the paperwork, off they go, and the deal funds as promised. Typically within a year, we can help you refinance as well. As far as pricing of vehicles, it's a different world now with the internet. Basically the internet is what newspapers used to be for car dealers. In the old days, everybody knows that car dealers would put all sorts of crazy ads in a newspaper because, again, that's what gets people to a car lot, and then everything changes. Basically, the internet's the same way. The goal for an auto dealer is to put a car online for as cheap as possible to get people to their lot. And when they get there and they see the car isn't a nice car, or it turns out it's been in an accident, or it's been smoked in, or whatever the situation is, the salesmen are then trained to start showing people other vehicles. And then, as I said, your expectation of leaving at $300 a month or $400 a month or whatever that is turns into something altogether different. The situation with pricing is when you look online for a particular car, you've got to throw out the cheapest versions of those vehicles because they're going to have bad history, they're going to be lost leaders, they're not going to be nice cars, they're going to be higher mileage. Whatever the situation is, there's going to be something a little bit off on those vehicles. You then have to throw the most expensive ones out because those are cars that were just traded into a dealership. They haven't been sitting on a lot long. They're real nice examples of what the vehicles are. So the dealer's fishing and he's just trying to get top dollar for it, and he's not in any real hurry to sell it. The true value of a vehicle lies in the middle. If you can see if a lot of cars are priced around $21,000 as an example, and all of a sudden you see one priced at 18 or 19, common sense tells you there's probably something wrong with that car. It's not quite right. So that's why when people send me examples of vehicles they want, they're always sending me the cheapest examples that they find online, which unfortunately aren't real. They're not nice cars, as I've just said. So what establishes the pricing here? It's not what you want to pay for a vehicle. It's not what a dealer wants to sell you a vehicle for. It's what a lender is willing to loan you on any particular vehicle. And it's either enough to do the deal with little or no money down, or it's not. So that's what determines our pricing to you. When we send you a vehicle and we give you pricing it's based on getting you as much money from the lender as we can, and then seeing if we can make the deal make sense to the dealer where it's a win-win for everybody. Keep in mind, the dealer doesn't have to pay all the normal people he does in a car deal. The only one he pays is us. So from that standpoint, he can afford to take a skinnier deal to make an extra deal because you're looked at as found business for them. You wouldn't be there if it weren't for us. Typically, when you go into your attorney's office and you're going through the paperwork and he's explaining to you all the different things that need to be done and what your rights are and everything else, the conversation about cars is difficult for an attorney because they really don't know. And that's really how what we do evolved, in that attorneys basically started to say, hey, call Jeff, he'll explain to you what your options are. I'm not an attorney. I don't claim to be an attorney, but I am an expert in this narrow field that we're talking about in regards to getting people good financing in the car of their choice while in a bankruptcy. That's also the key here. Is old school thinking tells you that you've got to wait till after you're discharged to get financing. That's not true. I can get you financing 48 hours after you file and it shows up on your credit. at a lower rate than you're going to end up getting after you discharge. So you're not being penalized by doing it sooner than later. The advantage to doing it sooner than later is simply that you get new, fresh credit reporting on the credit sooner, which is a positive thing. And you're being proactive in that if you know that your current car is going to be replaced, there's no point dragging it out and waiting and looking over your shoulder and being concerned, is the repo man out there or what the situation is. It's a good idea to gather as much information as early on in the process as you can. You don't have to do anything with the information. You can send us an application, we can send you all the numbers, we can send you all the options, and in the final analysis, you don't have to do anything. We're only giving you an option as far as if it makes sense to you and it improves your situation to move forward. If not, all you've done is gained a little bit more knowledge so you know when the time is right, you know what you want to do. A lot of times, there's multiple cars involved, in a family. Husband, wife, children. It's very complicated, and I know it's very unsettling, but we've done many, many multiple car deals. I had a husband and wife that had 3 children that each had a car. I literally had to replace 5 cars for them. Obviously, it's not always like that. Most of the times it's 1 or 2, but sometimes it's 3 or whatever it has to be. So we're able to do all that. We're able to give you your choices and give you your options, kind of take you by the hand and let you know what's the best thing for you and your family moving forward. And that's really what this is all about. We only make money if everything that we say comes to pass. We deliver on all of our promises. You're happy with the vehicle, it gets funded, and then that dealer ultimately pays us. So the best thing about everything I'm trying to say here, and as far as our reviews and everything else, we live up to what we say. We get back to all of our clients. We give them the information necessary to make good decisions moving forward. Sometimes I have clients that get back to me 6 months later, a year later. They'll say, hey, I wasn't ready when you got back to me, or I wasn't working at the time, or I was in a temp job, or whatever the situation was that they weren't able to move forward or they didn't want to move forward. Basically, they come back to us when they're ready, and that's really what we try to do, provide the information to give you an open door that when you're ready, we're here for you.